Hello and welcome to the Justice Factor. On June 16, 1976, South Africa's young people stood up against apartheid education. They did not know it then, but they changed the course of the anti-apartheid struggle. Today we remember them and ask, have we failed them? Are we failing them today? My guests to discuss June 1976 are Mbalintuli, DA Youth Leader, Mahasalam Zobe, coordinator of the ANC Youth League. But first we speak to a young man who defied incredible odds and became a doctor and an inspiration to young and old alike. At just 25, Dr. Vuyane Mhlomi currently has a bursary scheme for underprivileged children, and we speak to him about being young and doing good. Dr. Mhlomi, welcome to the show. I have to say, I don't often get anyone on this show who makes me feel tired. You're doing so many things. You're a doctor. You're practicing medicine at Dr. Krisani Baragwanath. You're shooting a movie. You're running a foundation to help kids, and you're studying for a law degree. How do you pack it all in?
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Justice. I think it's really about time management. I think I like to think I manage my time pretty well. Mm-hmm. Sleep is overrated, and if you're passionate about something, you generally pursue it.
And why medicine? Of all the things that you seem capable of doing, you chose medicine at the University of Cape Town, where you did very well.
Medicine is something I've always been passionate about, partly because of my poverty-stricken background. Secondly, because of my mom and my dad who were very ill, and no one really sat down to actually inform us, what exactly it is that was wrong with them. And I know what it feels like to be a public sector patient, to sit tirelessly on end, waiting for a doctor to show up and assist, not because they are not available, but because they are so swamped. And one day I told myself, I would actually like to be a doctor who positively contributes. And I'm with a strong belief as well that, often doctors should not just be sole prescribers of medication, but should be actively involved in the community in which they serve.
I want to come back to that public service you talk about, but let's talk about your upbringing. You refer to it, that it must have been tough to come from a family of quite a big family. Your dad passed away quite early on. Your mom was very sickly, and you, despite all the challenges, went on to get a fantastic degree at UCT. What kept you going?
My past. In all honesty, it's really been I come from a family, well, at least my mom has taught me, at all times, not to be defined by circumstance, and I'm a dreamer, and that's usually, in fact, at church they used to call me Joseph, because that's what I used to do, and dreams became that one, the dream became really that one thing that didn't allow the circumstance to influence, and that's really what kept me going, the constant hope that things would change for me, the constant hope that things would change for my family. And I think that is really what drove me. And even when I got to university, initially, there were certain challenges. My mom being ill. I remember when I was doing grade 12, I was right to my grade 12. My mom had a stroke. She was admitted. I literally had to study for exams, go to see my mom in the hospital, go take care of my younger brother, and trying to balance all that, and as well try and get to university. But the one thing that kept me going is that constant hope that things would get better.
Tell me about education. A lot of people would have said, given the circumstances, you could have chosen a clever kid in Kailicha. You could have said, I'm so clever, I can open up a car that's parked outside and go the route of crime, other routes. Why education? Why did you stay in there? Why did you stay invested?
I'm a believer that the only way, or the future, in fact, of this country relies solely on education, amongst other things. And the one thing that I feel for me medicine guaranteed was job security. I knew that there will always be a constant need for doctors, and that's why I decided to pursue it. And I've got family members, I've got friends who chose alternative routes, and that's when I realized that, look, these guys are years ahead of me. They've chosen those routes, and that's not really something that I would like to. Granted, they wanted to change the immediate circumstance by working and doing all sorts of things. But I knew that although it would require me to work hard, it will take time. At the end of the day, the only way I can give an effective change for my family is to ensure that I get a good education.
Do you think we're doing okay? We're doing what is right. Remembering Youth Day, and that those young people fought against the imposition of Afrikaans as a medium of instruction. Do you think in South Africa today, 19 years after 1994, are we doing the right things to get more young people into education at primary level, at school level?
I think there are currently lots of initiatives to try and encourage young people. I think because our social circumstances have not changed as well. Often people want to go into taking jobs and not pursuing education because they really want to get out. There's that yearning that I shouldn't be in this space. And I think what our young people require is that constant motivation and reminder that things though may change. I mean, look at the youth of 1976. Little did they know that through their struggles this is where we would be. In the same way, I think that we become very, very short-sighted in wanting to change things here and now. And in all honesty, I don't think that we are doing enough. We're doing something, but we're not doing enough to encourage our young people to pursue education.
Now, you've started something called the MH Foundation, and people can access it at www.mhfoundation.co.za, and your Facebook page is MH Foundation. And they can follow you on Twitter at Vuyane. But tell us a bit about what's MH Foundation.
The MH Foundation is really a program designed to equip young people from similar, I don't do that whole disadvantages, previously disadvantaged, because these individuals are currently disadvantaged, Find young people who have dreams. And I think that's the one thing that unifies us, as a people, that we all have these dreams. And who's to say that the guy from Khayelitsha should not be able to pursue that career because he doesn't have such a great circumstance? And that's really what it is. I personally got sick and tired at university of people constantly asking me, saying, oh no, you live in Bishop's Court, or you went to a private school. No, I didn't do that, It's because people didn't believe that anything good can come from a township such as mine. And the MH Foundation is really aimed at trying to show people, nurture those dreams, and help people pursue those dreams in order for them to become successful. So that when people talk about townships, so then people talk about townships such as Khayelitsha, they don't think twice, but rather look at them with a lot more positivity.
How does what is MH Foundation trying to do? So you invest in young people's dreams, and
we invest in young people's dreams in pursuing education. So the whole idea is we've got 5 pillars of the foundation.
Sure.
One, if I may mention them quickly, one is that they inquire to identify 3 careers of interest, and then we provide them with mentors, both people who are studying as well as working in those fields. The second thing is that we believe that you can only dream as far as whatever it is you're exposed to. So we believe that exposure is key. So we'd expose these kids both to different environments so that we can show them there's a much greater life outside of their community. Thirdly, they are required to attend additional tutoring. The reason we do that is so that these kids, one, can engage with like-minded individuals and also don't fall victims to some of the hiccups that our education system, endures. The fourth thing is that they're required to adopt a scholar in their class. This is so that to encourage the culture of social responsibility from a young age, to understand that the only way forward is by helping someone else. And lastly, the fifth thing is that we realize that, these guys get to matric, they get to university, they're unable to write, they're unable to read. So to encourage that, they're required to join an MH book club, where we provide them with books outside of the curriculum. They then write a report about that, again, to try and critically appraise, to analyze the material they read, and not be dictated by whatever a journalist or a writer has written.
I don't know about the journalists. But Dr. Vuyane Mhlomi, this is so inspirational. I wish you great luck in everything you do. I don't know where you're going to find the time to be a lawyer and to be all these things that you're doing. But really good luck and well done with what you've done so far. You can reach Dr. Vuyane Mhlomi on www.mhfoundation.co.za or follow him on @Vuyane and see what he's doing, and perhaps you too can help the young of today. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
After the break, we ask young South African leaders whether we are headed for an Arab Spring here in South Africa.
News that moves. ENCA.com.